The crowd screamed in anticipation as the last song of the word left Foreign's lips. While the idea of thousands of people clapping for you, shouting out your name, often been offering marriage proposals, which may or may not have been serious, whatever they terrify or delight the common person. This was nothing new to the Hex Girls. This was just a normal night. After rising to fame, following their performance at the Vampire Rock Music Festival, the Hex Girls became accustomed to the rock star life. They went on tours all the time, mingled with the social elite, and of course had thousands of adoring fans. Thorne personally loved the popularity and being appreciated for her music. She liked almost every aspect of Frame, and the aspects she didn't, well, she could easily ignore. Hookups with groupies? No thanks. Drugs? Nah, she was clean. Marriage proposals? Who cares? Because you're probably just wanna marry her. Thorne continued to bask in the spotlight, bathing in the glory of having thousands of people screaming excitement for her at once. And then she woke up. Upon returning to reality, Thorne realized that her life was nothing like that she had experienced in her dreams. Yes, thankfully, she still had abandoned pursuing what she loved the most, music. However, there was no screaming fans, no all-expenses-paid flights to perform exotic locations, and no fame. Sally McKnight, better known as by her stage name Thorne, got out of bed and stretched. The perky goth then ran her hands through her black hair, her fingers lightly glossing over the small and red streak as they swooshed through it. Thorne's eyes then scanned the room groggily, as she slowly reoriented herself from the afternoon nap. The room was painted in an ugly salmon color, which she loathed. But given that she lived in an apartment, she didn't exactly paint the wall a different color. On the optimistic side, she did like the salmon color better than the boring shade of white, and the rest of the walls of the apartment were. Despite this major and minor dislike, the room otherwise looked very much like Thorne. The walls were adorned with posters of various gothy bands, including Sowiski and the Banshees, Bahoas, and The Cure. She always had her very own desk, where she could write songs or draw in her bedroom if she wished. The desk was littered with a few pens and pencils, as well as pad paper and a book about Wicca. She always intended to read the damn thing, given the identified as a Wiccan. She had a deep interest in spirituality and energies, but she never wanted to seem to get around to it. She had never gotten into the Wicca as her mother, who was a devout practitioner of the religion. Thorne then went out to the kitchen to see if her two roommates were ready for tonight's show. She was still getting used to the living away from home. Given the 18-year-old had just moved out from her dad's apartment house a few months ago, when she graduated high school. Her father was always the town pharmacist and could always afford a lavish house, so naturally Thorne considered her new rundown apartment of large downgrade from what she had with her dad. Besides the physical comforts at her dad's house, she built a deep bond with her father, ever since her mother's tragic death, which admittedly made it through harder to move away. The girls already asked the landlord for the water pipes and the heats to be fixed for their short few months there. The place was so generally small. Besides the kitchen with the most basic amenities, including a microwave, oven, fridge, sink, and the other space that the girls had in addition to their own individual rooms, was a small living space. Of course, a bathroom. Thorne supposed that perhaps this was just how young adults her age had lived. She never really had the attendants who saw and lived the other three goths in the rooms in the building. However, she had no way to confirm this theory. The big upside of this being on her own, however, was getting to live with her two best friends, Kimberly Jameson and Jane Belowicz. better known as their stage names Luna and Dusk. Respectively, Thorn and Dusk had known each other since they were young kids, as their parents were close friends. Luna, on the other hand, wasn't just someone they met until they were 14. When Thorn's father recommended Thorn and Dusk go to a band camp and explore their music talent, so they could see if it was something they would be interested in having a career on. Given the song interest in music, Luna was also attending the same band camp. Thorn and Dusk immediately hit off with her, and well, the rest was history. Together, they had made up the Hexed Girls, a local band who lived in the small town of Oakhaven, where the girls were asked to play shows in public. It was usually places like some dive bar or coffee shop during their live music night. Tonight, the girls were even asked to play a show at Jack's restaurant. It wasn't exactly living the high life, but it was at least they weren't playing in the dark, dingy bar where drunken guys were hitting on them. "Are you almost ready, Luna?" Fornes asked. "Other people would like to use the bathroom." "Yes, geez." Luna rolled her eyes playfully. "So impatient." The orange-haired Hex girl vacated the bathroom, taking her makeup kit with her. "Hurry up, Thorn. We've got to leave for a show in 15 minutes. Dusk, who apparently just entered the room, reminded her. "I'm trying. I just got in the bathroom." Thorn sighed, applying her eyeliner. "Hey, I just looked at the set list. And why is the Hex Girls last? I thought we were first," Dusk complained. "We just wanted to put it last so people will associate our band name with our performance," Thorn explained. "Band recognition, you know." "I thought we were going to start off strong by shoving our identity in people's faces," Dusk counter-raged. From that little debate, an outsider might think that the Hex Girls didn't like each other, but that wasn't the case at all. However, because they lived together and spent nearly all the time with one another, they occasionally got a bit snarky with one another, especially when they're all rushing to get ready for the show. However, they all cared much for each other, and they even never say it out loud because, in vulnerability, they loved each other. They made fun of each other and give each other a hard time, but the girls were so close that they truly felt like sisters. Thorn quickly slathered on the rest of her makeup and picked up her guitar case, which was sitting by the door. "Fine, we can do it first, you dement about," Thorn grumbled. "I guess it doesn't matter that much anyway." "See, I told you I was right," Dusk cheesed. "You just keep telling yourself that," Thorn eyebrowed and followed the Hex Girls playfully. "Luna, are you ready? We gotta get to Jack's." I'm coming!" Luna rushed down the hallway of the girls' apartment, as the two other girls headed down to their vehicle. Thorn immediately felt a little claustrophobic when she was getting to the backseat with the instruments. Their tour vehicle was jokingly referred as not a huge bus or limousine, rather a rickety old gray minivan that was constantly on the brink of breaking down. The interior of the car was all scuffled and scratched from their instruments, and the upholstery looked like it had seen better days. It wasn't ideal, but it was all they could afford. Thorn let out a sigh as she crammed in between the instruments and the edge of the seat towards the window. At least the girls turned driving. So next time, Thorn would be in the front seat and someone else would have to be the bear in the burden of being practically buried in the back seat. Suddenly, a huge thud can be heard, and the cool air had previously filled the vehicle began turning hot. "Shit, that's the radiator again," Dusk sighed. "Maybe it's time to exchange your soccer mom car for an actually reliable vehicle," Luna jested. "You know we can't just afford that," Dusk reminded. "Besides, I kind of like her. She's my baby." Thorn knew Dusk was referring to the vehicle, but she also realized that Dusk was the only one saying that to downplay, due to the fact that she couldn't really afford a new vehicle. Hell, she couldn't even afford to fix the radiator if it broke down, which it had been threatening to do for weeks now. "Let's get over this list one more time, just to make sure we're all on the same page," Thorn suggested. "First, it's Hex Girl." "I sure thought I was last," Luna challenged. "See?" Thorn sent an annoyed look at Dusk's way. "Fine," Dusk huffed. "We'll do Hex Girl last." "That's better. So that first it's Earth, Wind, Fire, and Air, followed by Hoodoo Voodoo," then Good Bad Girls, followed by Love's Curse, and finally end with the Hex Girl. Thorn revised the list. Sounds good. I just wish we could get booked for long periods, though. I just love having this one show that lasts more than a half an hour. Luna lamented. Yeah, I suppose. That would be nice. But honestly, I'm just happy that anyone wants to hear us play. Dusk shrugged. I suppose. I just wish we could get more popular. There's so much you could connect with the audience that's half drunkards. Thorn rolled her eyes. The Hex Girls had plenty of experiments with intoxicated audience members hitting on them and making things uncomfortable. We're just about at Jack's, Luna pointed out. Ugh, there's no frickin' parking though, Dusk growled. Wait, I see a spot over there. Luna pointed at the other side of the road. All the way there? Fine, I guess I'll have to do a U-turn, Dusk replied in an exasperated tone. She pulled into the left lane. Unfortunately for them, the light was incredibly long. According to the clock on their car, they had been waiting for at least 3 minutes already. Come on, turn already. We've got a frickin' show to do, Dusk hissed. You know you're kind of an impatient driver, Thorn teased. Only because I don't want us to be late for the show, Dusk snapped back. Maybe it's a good thing we're not doing international tours then. Just think how stressful it would be to compare to some little show in a restaurant. Luna chuckled. Oh yeah, I guess you're right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come off like an angry bitch. Dusk's tone softened. I'm just being playful, Luna reassured. Thorn knew exactly that Dusk struggled with some self-esteem issues. Despite being edgy, the vibe she almost gave off. The black-haired goth imagined what it would be like to have caused Dusk to suddenly become overly sensitive towards Luna's playful trademarks. At long last, the light turned and Dusk was able to execute a U-turn. Just as Dusk pulled into the parking space, she heard a loud sound of flashing lights behind her. Arrgh! Dusk muttered under her breath. What seems to be the problem, Mike? Thorn then tried to smile and put a polite face on the officer, despite that she was pretty sure that what was going to happen. Oakhaven was just a small town, even though she didn't know the police officer well. She had heard from their parents, Oakhaven was the type of town where everyone knew of everyone, which in this case was the most embarrassing than comforting. You ladies in some kind of hurry? Mike inquired, as he got out of his vehicle and walked straightly up to the girls. As a matter of fact, we are. We're performing a school tonight at Jack's restaurant across the street. Dusk's voice was far more hostile than irritated than Thorn's polite facade. Well, maybe you didn't see the sign, but it's illegal to make U-turns at this light. This heavily driven intersection is making kind of a turn could put you and others in danger. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to give you guys ladies a ticket. I'm sorry, it won't happen again, Thorn apologized, still trying to be extra polite, despite that they didn't feel like they deserved a ticket. The officer then quickly wrote up a ticket and handed it to Dusk, much to the horror, reading the amount that they would have to pay. $50? Dusk snapped. Sir, with all due respect, there are so many worse crimes than this. People steal, kidnap, and murder all the time. But we're the ones that get punished for making just a stupid mistake? I'm sorry, ma'am, but the law is the law, Mike firmly stated. Your ladies seem nice, though. So I'll tell you what. I'll drop your ticket down to $25. If you promise to pay closer attention to the road next time, no matter how big of a hurry you're in. Thank you so much. We will, Luna nervously nodded. You ladies have a good day now. Mike nodded to the free woman. Then he walked back to his vehicle. I'll give him the promise, Dusk muttered, as the officer was out of the earshot. I promise I'd put my combat boots straight up his ass if he ever gives us another bullshit ticket again for something as stupid as that. Dusk, relax. It's just a shitty ticket we got. But at least he didn't charge us full price, Thorn pointed out. Besides, we've got a show to get to. The tickets would definitely be hard for the girls to cover. None of them have jobs outside of music, so they just made enough to cover rent, food, gas, and a little extra for emergencies or for fun opportunities that might arise. But certainly they didn't have the money to burn. Maybe it's finally time for us to think more seriously about getting those jobs that we've been talking about since we moved out, Luna suggested, as she put her fake fangs on for the performance. Luna's father was a dentist who made the girls each fake fangs to increase their vampiric aesthetic, to which they wore it to every show. We barely afford anything as it is. You know, we'll have much less time to focus on making music if we get second jobs, Thorn argued. I still say we can make this work. We just all want our main focus on music, right? Dusk and Luna both nodded. This was recurring conversation for the girls. Ever since they moved out, they constantly went back and forth whenever they needed their second jobs, but always ended up deciding that they don't need to. While Thorn and Luna's parents would be more than capable of helping out their daughters financially, both of them felt that it was best for their daughters to fully support themselves so they could be more self-significant. Dusk's parents, on the other hand, were incredibly rich and could absolutely afford to support all three girls. However, their refusal to do so would be based on disapproving their daughter becoming a musician. They constantly berated Dusk about choosing a garbage career, and that they would never allow her to a reliable source of income. In fact, their parents were regularly compared Dusk to their three sisters, in which they were currently successful careers. Thorn presumed that it was led to some self-esteem issues that Dusk had struggled with. Well, and the fact that expressing emotions was discouraged, often ridiculed in Dusk's family. It was no wonder Dusk became steadily edgier and tougher as she grew up. Well, it's settled then, isn't it? Well, we don't need any second jobs, and we could devote this to our own music. Sick, Thorn optimistically decided. Yeah, we're gonna be late if we don't get going, Luna agreed. Let's go, Dusk. Fine. I'm still pissed that we got to spend a half an hour of our commission money on last night on this stupid crap. Dusk harumphed. Thorn decided not to focus on the negativity and instead joining the beautiful scenery around her as they walked across the street to Jack's. It was a perfect fall day out, with a gentle breeze swaying a couple trees surrounding the restaurant, all of which donned colorful rays of red, orange, and yellow leaves. Upon arriving inside Jack's, the girls were greeted by a warm, familiar surroundings. Jack had a classic dinner to feel to it, and its checkerboard floors to the cushioned booths all spread across the restaurant. There were also a few tables in the restaurant in the far back. Nearby, a small makeshift stage Jack had set up for them. On the opposite side of the restaurant was the kitchen and number of booths. Hello, girls, Jack grinned joyfully. How's life been treating for you? Thorn couldn't even imagine what it would be like to see Jack angry or sad, because he was the type of person who always seemed legitimately in a prospectively good mood. Given this, Thorn didn't want to be bringing his mood down by complaining about the ticket they had just received. We're doing great, Jack. How are you? Thorn inquired. Oh, just fabulous. Jack chuckled in a goofy, lighthearted way as he did. I've got a little stage all set up for you, so you could start performing whenever you're ready. Thanks, Jack, Luna smiled, as she helped Dusk hold in their instruments. Thorn looked around the restaurant to see a very meager audience of people compressing around the 10 groups. Many of the groups were just couples eating together, but a few were families that had brought their children along. Thorn's eye got caught on one of the three girls around her age. One of them stood out due to her bright pink hair. Thorn figured that most of them weren't even there to see them sing, probably just happened to be eating while the other girls scheduled to perform. Nevertheless, the girls finished setting up their instruments as Jack stood in the middle of the restaurant to make an announcement as they were about ready to perform. Luckily, the place was small enough so where he could easily have his voice be heard by everyone in the restaurant. Alright everyone, we've got a very special treat for you tonight. Now presenting Oak Haven's very own eco-goth band, the Hex Girls, Jack introduced. Thorn got off the stage with her fellow Hex Girls, let out a sigh inaudible to the audience, before exclaiming, Are you guys ready to rock? Thorn didn't really notice her comment met with any cheers or not, too busy thinking about unlike herself to be sounding like that. As much as Thorn loved performing her music for the world to hear, She felt a little dissonance within her stage persona herself. It felt like she was playing a character sometimes, even though she felt bad about it. She knew what she had to do, because of her true personality, never to be edgy as something as the fans wanted it to be. Thorn knew Luna struggled with slight shyness, and even though Luna was often open to her two best friends, she typically more reserved for others that she didn't know very well, compared to how heavy Thorn's own problems felt. The black-haired singer wished to be shy, as biggest as their own worries. Luna was just having a little bit of trouble expressing her true self-awares. Thorn sometimes felt like she's pretending to be someone she wasn't. Taking a deep breath, Thorn prepared her mind for a voice to say of what she loved the most. Sing. "We're gonna put a spell on all of you!" the Hex girls threatened as they concluded their performance. The girls were met with the moodest clapping. The applause wasn't super enthusiastic or overjoyed, but rather affirmation that they did a good job. While Thorn sort of wished all the performances were met with screaming crowds and excited careers, she was least satisfied with getting some sort of engagement with some of the audience. As usual, a few people came up and said that they did a good job, gave them a few dollars as a commission for a job well done, but it was rarely ever much. An older gentleman got up from his booth and came over to the Hex girls. "Those were some groovin' tunes, young ladies." The old man awkwardly tried to relate to them. "With a little practice, you'll be good as who all the young people listen to these days. Donuts?" "Donuts is an actor, not a singer," Thorn corrected, while still trying to be polite to the man. "Oh well, anyway, you girls did great. I was just telling Martha that you practically had me tapping my foot off the seat," the old man informed. "Well, have a good night, young ladies." Well, a few more people had came up and simply told the girls they did a great job. A few more gave them money, but that was just about the extent of the praise. "Well, this decent night, huh?" Thorn tried to be positive, despite the audience's engagement of being more than lackluster than usual tonight. "Oh yeah, it was incredible," Dusk said sarcastically. "Guy told us that if we tried a little harder, we could sound like Dunnots. What a glowing compliment. My entire life is complete." "Well, at least he said something," Luna shrugged. "He could have spit in our faces." "Are you girls hungry?" Jack inquired. "I'm sure you must be after that big performance, so I cooked up some burgers for you." Thorn looked at the commission jar and saw only 12 messy dollars, not enough to pay for the parking ticket they had got tonight. "Thanks, Jack, but we'll pass. Money's looking a bit tight tonight." Thorn then held up a few dollars they had gotten, so Jack can see. "Nonsense, girls, it's my treat. For being so generous and performing here tonight." Jack smiled. "Okay, if you insist," Dusk agreed. "I could eat," Luna meekly said. "That's very kind of you, Jack." "Sure, we like to have some food," Thorn warmly responded. She found sweet that Jack was acting like the girls hadn't been ones to convince him to play here. It seemed such a logical place for them to play, given the girls already ate there every week. Thorn's father had taken her there regularly as a kid. Given that they knew Jack so well, he was more than happy to be supportive of their band and provide them with a place to play every few weeks. "Coming right up." Jack rushed to the back to grab burgers for the girls. As Jack left, Thorn caught the eye of the group of girls that she noticed before. It appeared that they were saying over something. One of the girls had light pink hair and wore all black clothing, even down to the studded combat boots of her feet. Another girl had black hair and wore a t-shirt with a black and pink skull on it, and the third had a blonde hair and wore a tank top reading Nightmare, which Thorn assumed that it was the name of a band. "Hey, I just want to say that you girls killed it tonight," the pink-haired girl complimented. "Yeah, that was one of the best performances we've ever seen," the black-haired girl agreed. "Thanks," Thorn smiled. "We'd love to have your autographs, if you have a moment," the blonde girl chimed in. Autographs? The girls had never been asked for anything like that. They were just a small-town band that not many people knew about. Sure, people complimented on their performances sometimes, but never been asked to sign anything for their adoring fans before. Of course, Luna's eyes lit up. The blonde girl handed the Hex girls a piece of paper, while the black-haired girl offered them a pen. As Dusk took the pen and began signing the paper, Jack returned to the back with the burgers. "Here's your burgers, girls. Enjoy," Jack joyfully informed. The chorus of thanks ensured from the famished girls. Forn was the last one to sign the autograph, as Dusk handed the paper and pen over to them. "Whoa, I can't believe we just got autographs from the Hex girls. Thank you so much," the pink-haired girl exclaimed, as she and the other two girls scurried over to their booth within excitement. "I didn't realize anyone liked us that quite much," Luna observed. "Maybe they saw our show at the Autumn Festival?" Forn shrugged. The Autumn Festival had been the girls' most attended show to date. People came out and drove to watch the show given the Autumn Festival was the town's most popular event of the year. Overall, the concert was a bit concluded with crazy events that directly preceded, including Forn's father being on some publicity stunt cooked up by the mayor to make it seem like the ghost of the dead witch. Sarah Ravencroft had returned from her grave, followed by the ghost of Sarah Ravencroft, which actually returning from the grave with the help of the batshit crazy ancestor. Though the girls then looked back at the Autumn Festival concert with incredibly fond memories, it had perverted in many ways to the ghost witch trying to destroy the town. Well-attended concert almost became a metaphorical bar, and that the girls felt like they needed to hit, which resulted in caused their own local shows to feel the slightless a bit unfulfilling. As much as Forn loved writing and creating music, she'd be lying if she said that she sometimes did get lonely. The girls hungrily inhaled their burgers as they reminisced over that some strange time, where they just have a moment of being a little famous, and how they wish that it could have happened again. Well, except about the part about the homicidal witch, of course. "Ready to head out, sisters?" Luna asked. "Yeah, I need some sleep," Dusk yawned. "See you later, Jack. Thanks for everything," Forn waved. "I think you girls are the ones I should be thanking for offering to perform here tonight," Jack answered. "Drive safe. I'll see you girls real soon." "Oh hey, it looked like someone forgot something." Luna pointed on the floor. It appeared to be some sort of see-through crystal attached to the necklace. "That's weird," Dusk commented, picking up the necklace in her hand. "Jack, did you see who this necklace belonged to?" "No, I never seen it before," Jack replied. This is actually a pretty neat crystal. I think I'm going to keep it." Dusk put it around her neck. "Dusk," Luna scolded. "That isn't yours. You can't just take it." "Geez, relax. Jack said he didn't know whose it was, so there's no way who it belonged to," Dusk defended herself. "Okay, but it's your fault if you make one of those concert goers sad," Forn teased, as she opened the door to exit the diner. "Good night, Jack." "See you later, girls," Jack smiled, as the Hex girls left to return to their apartment.